Nekkal millionaire at Afriso. $3.6 million is to give away. Simply buy a minimum of $10 in credit or data worth $10 to stand a chance of being a millionaire. To enter the weekly and monthly draw, send WIN by SMS to 772 or just call 772 for free. Remember, the more you buy credit or data, the more your chances of being a millionaire. Be that Nekkal millionaire at Afriso, right?
Good evening from our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Mumudu Bailabari. In our headlines tonight, government's expenditure on net lending estimated to surge by over 39 billion in 2024. Gambia commemorates World Prematurity Day with day-long awareness campaign. OIC Gambia Secretariat confirms summit adjourned to May 2024. Anti-crime unit arrests suspect for attempted murder. On the international news, battle for northern Mali, military and allies recapture northern city. Madagascar presidential election boycotted by more than 10 opposition candidates. Myanmar fighting, military losing ground to alliance of armed groups. These and many more stories coming. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. The National Assembly of the Gambia has commenced its fourth ordinary session on Friday, with the focus of the Gambia's government's total revenue and expenditure estimates for 2024. Maria Madem has more in the report.
This is the fourth ordinary session of the National Assembly in 2023, also referred to as the budget session. The Friday sitting, which witnessed the tabling of the 2024 budget estimates before the National Assembly, is in accordance with Section 152, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution, which dictates the President to instruct the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to prepare and submit to the National Assembly at least 60 days before the end of each financial year. The move is also in line with the Public Finance Act 2014. According to the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Sidi Keita, government's total expenditure and net lending are projected to increase to over $39 billion in 2024. This is mainly caused by the debt interest, which is likely to surge by 76%. However, personnel emoluments have been revised in 2023 to take into account adequate adjustments relating to unplanned recruitments.
Total expenditures and net lending are projected to increase slightly by 6 percentage points, rising from 37.15 billion to 39.38 billion in 2024. This increase is mainly driven by increase in debt interest, which is projected to increase from 2.9 billion in 2023 to 5.9 billion in 2024, an increase of 76%. Personnel emoluments expenditures are also projected to increase from 6.1 billion, revised base value of 6.7 billion in 2023 to 7.43 in 2024.
On goods and services from the use of both donor and government resources are projected to be at $9.84 billion in 2024, representing 1% decrease compared to 2023. Similarly, capital expenditures are expected to decline by 12%.
Decline in the budget for both goods and services and capital expenditures are associated with the decline in project grant disbursement from 2023 to 2024. This is mainly explained by the over-projection of project grants, which has been largely corrected for in 2024. The largest allocation of the expenditure budget, apart from the debt service, which consume about 26% of the expenditure budget, is to education. And the combined allocation to this sector, both the highest basic education and higher education, comprises more than 15% of the expenditure budget.
Subsidies and transfers, which include subventions, are projected to increase by $599 million to $4.96 billion in 2024, compared to $4.34 billion approved for 2023.
This increase is partly due to the increase in subvention for the GRA on the backdrop of anticipated higher revenue collections, Ministry of Health, hospitals, schools, GBOS for the national census, and the inclusion of new subventions to MCC Compact Coordination Office, Victims Commission, SOE Commissions. Input subsidies for fertilizer also increased by $100 million.
However, goods and services from domestically financed resources increased by 34% from 4 billion in 2023 to 5.48 billion in 2024.
Significant increase in goods and services is as a result of the increased funding for land compensation for roads and Nawek solar power project, post-OIC activities, travel expenses of the National Assembly, and the consultancy service related to public works. Furthermore, the contribution to the Gambia River Basin OMVG of $150 million and the hospital drugs of $240 million are also contributing factors. Overall, capital expenditure, including donor funds, is expected to decrease by 12% to 11.76 billion in 2024, mainly as a result of projected decrease in project grants disbursement. However, government funding of infrastructure and related investment is projected to increase by 30% from 2.5 billion in 2023 to 3.26 billion in 2024.
Overall capital expenditure, including donor funds, is expected to decrease by 12% to $11.76 billion in 2024, mainly as a result of the projected decrease in project grant disbursement. However, government funding of infrastructure and related investments is expected to increase by 30% from $2.50 billion in 2023 to $3.26 billion in 2024. This includes anticipated payments for ongoing infrastructure works, including relocation of services and related works. Debt service interest payment is foreseen to be $5.11 billion in 2024 from $2.19 billion in 2023, representing an increase of 76%. According to the minister, the prevalent debt service interest payments plus foreign amortization is projected to reach $7.49 billion in 2024. The increase in debt services for 2024 is the result of the large increase in interest payments due to the increase in the MPC rate to a high of 17%, which translates to higher interest payments on the 30-year bond and other domestic debts and the anticipated rollover of other government securities. It is also worthy to note that the 2024 budget deficit will be financed mainly from domestic financing and borrowing from development partners. In a sense, the gross deficit is estimated to reach 2.55% of GDP compared to 3.59% of GDP. This is a deficit reduction of 29% from the 2023 budget compared to the 2024 budget. Meanwhile, after tabling the 2024 budget estimates, lawmakers will go on a 4-day retreat to scrutinize the proposed budget. Mariam Adem reporting for Star TV News.
In recent years, the Gambia has witnessed a concerning increase in premature birth, posing significant challenges to both healthcare professionals and families. To address this issue, the Gambia Doctors and Nurses on Friday organized a day-long awareness event at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. This occasion is aimed to shed light on the rising prevalence of premature birth in the country to foster understanding among healthcare providers and the community. Baikor has more in this report.
World Prematurity Day is observed every year on November 17 as concerns of premature birth and their families are significant. Premature births can lead to long-term intellectual and developmental disabilities for babies. These are problems with how the brain works. They can also cause a person to have trouble or delays in physical development. Therefore, the need to raise awareness and start the conversation resolving around it cannot be overemphasized. The theme for this year's commemoration is Small Thing, Big Impact, Kangaroo Mother Care. Deputy Chief Medical Officer at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, Dr. Abubakar Jain, in his welcoming remark, shed light on prematurity.
Prematurity is not a disease, but is for us, it's quite a condition for us to do. There are so many things we should do to make it a success, because you can see this handsome and beautiful kids that have grown up with use of kangaroo mother care. That technique, you'll be amazed to see how much effort these mothers have done to make these children to come to bear. It's amazing to know that they're very helpful health staff that have helped them through all those difficult times.
Premature babies are higher risk of developmental problems. It is impossible for babies born at 23 to 24 weeks to survive, but they are at a greater risk of health complications. Many babies are born before 32 weeks, and those weigh 2.5 kg or less may need help in breathing. Consultant neonatological at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, Professor Augusta Ene, outlines the benefits of kangaroo mother care on premature babies.
Kangaroo mother care, and the name is gotten from the animal kangaroo, which has a pouch, which it uses to protect the newborn baby, its newborn baby. And they are there in the pouch, sucking the breast. So kangaroo mother care, apart from maintaining the body temperature of the baby, it also has the nutritional aspect. The baby is there in between the mother's breasts, so can suck the breast at any time, on demand, can suck the breast. It's also good to create bonding between the mother and the baby. And it has a lot of benefits. I just mentioned a few. It also helps the brain development, neurological development.
Approximately 900,000 children died in 2019 of complications of premature birth. Many survivors face a lifetime of disabilities, including learning disabilities, visual and hearing problems. Globally, prematurity is the leading cause of death in children under the age of 5 years. Sira Bari is a mother who experienced premature birth with twins.
tay mo dañ def booti kanam mom lañ jox kangourou dañ ko daan def suñu len booté da gis né boot bu dafa am solo torop mo dé tax xalé yi tangori yaram bi mo dé tax xalé yi dañoo maga dañoo téla maga amna solo amna njëriñ torop légui ka ma ngi sante yalla suma xalé yi alhamdullilah rabbil alamin wa ma ngi ñaan bolem ko xamné do mom primature len rek amna solo suñu nekké ci l'hôpital bi topot dang ko booti kanam amna solo torop lolu moy dimbal xalé bi.
The day-long awareness event on the rise of premature birth in the Gambia, organized by the Gambia doctors and nurses at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul, was a resounding success by bringing together healthcare professionals, families, and the community. The event created a platform for dialogue, education, and collaboration. It is hoped that this will effect change, leading to improved support system, increased access to equal healthcare, and a reduction in the prevalence of premature births in the Gambia. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Baiko.
The Organization of Islamic Cooperation OIC Secretariat on Friday held a press briefing to inform the general public about their new developments and the status of the ongoing projects of the Secretariat. The event also availed media practitioners the opportunity to make verification on the issue affiliated with the OIC Summit. More in this report by Modu El Baji.
This ceremony brought together officials from the Office of the President and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to update the public about the latest development regarding the hosting of the 15th OIC Islamic Summit in the Gambia. During his statement, the Chief Executive Officer of the OIC Gambia Secretariat, Mr. Yankuba Diba, said since the founding of the Secretariat in 2018, the government of the Gambia, through his office and the relevant stakeholders, has registered significant progress in their efforts to organize a remarkable summit which the Gambia can be proud of.
Gambia is not an island, and issues happening around the world, particularly in the Islamic Ummah, are naturally bound to affect us. Considering the current Israeli aggression and violence in the occupied territories of Palestine, and the proximity of just concluded joint extraordinary summit of Arab and Muslim countries in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the government of the Gambia, in consultation with the current chair, which is Saudi Arabia, the King Salman, and member countries decided to push the date of the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia to the 4th and 5th of May 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to emphasize that pushing the date ahead is not the same as cancellation. For purposes of clarity, the OIC Summit in Banjul is neither cancelled nor taken away from the Gambia.
The OIC boss attributes the adjournment of the December scheduled conference to the striking conflict in the Middle East, as Palestine is a member of the OIC, which is the second biggest global organization. However, the OIC CEO said their secretariat has generated a good amount of money through the conferences held at the OIC complex.
Our mantra is that the OIC Summit will be meaningless if it is not linked to the progress and prosperity of all Gambians. That is why all our projects were strategically chosen and designed not only to provide a unique experience for the summit guests coming, but also to meaningfully transform the lives and livelihoods of everybody living in the Gambia. Ladies and gentlemen, it is along that line that I'm happy to announce that since our founding, the Secretariat has raised over $300 million from our resource mobilization efforts to improve the vitality of our national economy. Similarly, all our infrastructural projects have advanced in their implementation stages.
The construction projects of the OIC have led to many demolitions, especially in the Greater Banjul area, where property owners generate concerns over the issue of compensation. CEO Yankuba Diba set light on the said issue.
But compensation, as I am talking, is already ongoing. It doesn't come, they don't just compensate 100%, because government doesn't work that way. Revenues are generated, and then monies are given to ministries, and people are compensated, gradually. But compensation package is also running alongside the construction.
The adjournment of the 15th OIC Summit will give room to the Gambia to complete its ongoing infrastructural development earmarked for the summit. For Star TV, I am Model Baji.
In a rapid response to a distress call earlier this week, the anti-crime unit apprehended Gorgis Sow of Jalambang for alleged attempted murder of his wife. More in this report by Awasane.
The unit's prompt arrival at the scene facilitated the arrest of Gorgis Sow, who was attempting to flee. The anti-crime unit personnel, upon arriving at the scene, found the victim, the man's wife, lying in a critical condition, having sustained multiple severe injuries to both legs. The victim received immediate medical attention and was initially rushed to Brikama Hospital. Subsequently, she was transferred to Nemban Clinic, where she remains admitted for further medical treatment and care. During the arrest, the suspect was found in possession of alleged weapon, a cutlass which was recovered from his residence, along with his bed and clothing. The victim, found in critical condition with severe leg injuries, was promptly attended to and referred to Nemban Clinic for ongoing medical care after initial treatment at Brikama Hospital. The case has already been mentioned at Brikama Magistrate Court and is being referred to High Court for legal proceedings. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the imperative to seek peaceful resolutions to conflicts, emphasizing the need for the public to embrace non-violent means to dispute resolutions. For Star TV News, I am Hadijaju.
That report by Awasane will take us to the commercial break. When we come back, we look at news outside the Gambia. Stay with us.
Assalamualaikum mbokk yi di leen yëgal rek ne tey moom dañ ñëw ànd ak yéen ak ñi nga xam ne ñooy Afrimoney. Oncle yow naka nga dee jëfoo li nga xam ne ni moo nekk Afrimoney bi?
Fii suma sop la customer mu moom am ci la ma fayee ci Afrimoney. Man mii bu ma jënd merchandise fii ci Afrimoney fii lay fayee.
Man su may order suma bagage yi sax Afrimoney laa dee use. Def na sax su may dem si restaurant bi man suma alaaji Afrimoney lañ dee use pour fay suñ bill bi.
na ma dee yóbbu i bagage waaye fu ma yóbbu bagage yëpp Afrimoney suma fun bi leen ma faye mu yombalal ñu ko ba bugg a dee.
sa tontu mooy akay mun nga jëfandikoo sa Afrimoney pour fay lépp loo bugg a fay ci nim gën a yombee ak Afrimoney. dialal star 777 hash nga tànn 9 dugal ko ci boutique ba loolu rek la fay nga fépp fa mun a nekk rek yaa ngi ak sa téléphone dugalal xaalis ak Afrimoney agent bu mën a doon wala Africell customer care mbaa nga call 777 ñu leeralal la ko.
If you are just tuning in, this is Star TV News from our studio here in Churchillstown, and now we take a look at news outside the Gambia. Mali's military is imposing a curfew in the northern city of Kidal after taking control on the area on Wednesday. It is a significant military milestone as the government fights to recapture territory from rebel groups in the region. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig has more.
Russian fighters from the Wagner mercenary group receiving a hero's welcome after liberating Mali's northern city of Kidal from Tuareg rebels. This is a major victory both for Wagner and the Malian army. They have succeeded where the French forces have failed and without the help of the UN peacekeeping force. The Tuareg rebels known as the Azawad forces held the town for over a decade, but are now on the retreat.
We decided to reorganize ourselves, to come back with more strength and a new strategy.
Kidal was once the stronghold of Tuareg rebels wanting to create their own homeland. They call the Azawad, a territory almost double the size of France. After weeks of fighting, thousands of residents of Kidal, mostly Tuareg and Arabs, are fleeing to neighboring Mauritania. Most are women and children. They carry with them tales of horror, rape, torture, husbands or brothers or fathers hacked to death. Rights groups believe Mali's army and Russian fighters have committed war crimes.
These people are merciless. They are conducting, what they call scorched earth policy. They kill everything in front of them, and the civilians, the most affected ones, unfortunately.
In Mali's capital, Bamako, thousands gathered to celebrate the capture of Kidal, but also to denounce the UN peacekeeping force.
Since their arrival, the situation has only gotten worse. Hundreds of villages have been torched under their watch. They have been bystanders to communal violence. They need to get out.
The UN is withdrawing its peacekeepers in haste. Almost half of their barracks are being taken over by armed groups and not handed over to the Malian army. After a series of military losses and defeat, the capture of Kidal is seen as a significant step in recapturing lost territories from armed groups in northern Mali.
The capture of Kidal is a return of Malian sovereignty. It's a consecration of the Malian army efforts. They have been recruiting fighters. And most importantly, this victory shows that being an ally with Russia works.
This spells the end of the 2015 Algiers peace accord signed by Malian forces and Tuareg rebels. With the UN peacekeepers leaving, Malian and Russian fighters are stepping in, attempting to impose peace by force to a country spiraling into civil war. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera.
Ballot counting is underway in Madagascar following a presidential election. The vote was marred by weeks of violent protests, and some opposition candidates boycotted the process. Al Jazeera's Haru Motasa has more in this report.
Most opposition candidates asked people to boycott Madagascar's presidential election. At some polling stations, lines were short. President Andry Rajoelina wants a third term in office and says he's confident people will turn out and he will win in the first round of voting.
For those who don't participate, we won't force anyone to participate. But for the people, it's their right and their responsibility to do their duty to vote. And that's why I want to thank the people, because even here, people are motivated, even if they have been encouraged not to vote.
10 opposition candidates called for a boycott, saying the Electoral Commission and the courts favored the incumbent. But political tensions didn't stop others from voting. Election observers say voting day went relatively smoothly.
I think that Madagascar's democracy is advanced. We'll just encourage them to consolidate what has been achieved and to correct what needs to be corrected.
The Indian Ocean island is the leading global producer of vanilla, but the World Bank says Madagascar is one of the world's poorest countries. Whoever wins this election will have to address widespread poverty, as well as manage any fallout that could happen if results are disputed. Haru Mutasa, Al Jazeera.
Myanmar military has suffered a series of defeats in recent weeks, but the ongoing are concerned and the success of the ethnic armed groups fighting in the army could further destabilize the country. Al Jazeera's Tony Chang reports.
A firefight outside Loigor University in eastern Myanmar. Fighters from the Karenni Nationalities Defence Force advancing on the 6th Infantry Battalion. Surrender and we won't hurt you, shouts the KNDF commander. Slowly and very cautiously the soldiers inside emerge, despondent, dejected and defeated. This is just the latest in a string of defeats for Myanmar's military in the past month, giving hope to the government in exile that the tide is turning.
The military can be defeated, and that they are not the institution like many people thought. So these are operations, recent operations across the country, shows that military is collapsing, and the military can be defeated, and then we will end the military dictatorship together.
The offensive started in Shan State when several armed groups came together under the name the Brotherhood Alliance to launch an offensive against government troops. That in turn triggered other attacks across the country. Since the 27th of October, different ethnic armed groups have made substantial gains in Shan State, Kachin, Sagang, Chin, Rakhine, Mon, Kaya and Kayin states. The area under complete military control has shrunk considerably. Even in areas where it maintains dominance, the strain is showing. Fuel shortages are forcing drivers to queue for hours to fill their tanks in the largest city, Yangon, as supplies are diverted to the troops.
Within Myanmar itself, we're at a
precarious juncture that could see a kind of a breakup, disintegration, fragmentation of the country like we've not seen before, because the center, the military, is losing.
As the fighting increases, so do the number of those seeking safety. These people had fled from Laogai and Shan State, many concerned that after its recent losses, Myanmar's military will fight back with a ferocity that pays no attention to civilian lives. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera.
And that report by Tony Cheng brings us to the end of this edition of News Bulletin. But before we go, a quick recap of our main headlines. Government's expenditure on net lending estimated to surge by over 39 billion in 2024. Gambia commemorates World Prematurity Day with day-long awareness campaign. OIC Gambia Secretariat confirms summit adjourned to May 2024. Anti-crime unit arrests suspect for attempted murder. On the international news, battle for northern Mali, military and allies recapture northern city. Madagascar presidential election boycotted by more than 10 opposition candidates. Myanmar fighting, military losing ground to alliance of armed groups. Well, that's all for this edition of today's news. Thank you very much for watching. Do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Until then, have a very good night and have a wonderful weekend.